attaching the sleeve here to the body here of a movie shirt. Now the direction of the weave doesn't matter. You have two possible options. Just sort of randomly make your sleeve random in the direction, and this way, if your seam lines up this way for this section backwards, then just open the rings on either side and join them together to make a perfect seamless 4-in-1 on this side. Or if your rings line up this way, then just seam in an extra row in the usual manner. You certainly can make your sleeves so that they line up with the weave direction here, but it makes no difference at all as long as the long end of the sleeve gets attached to the body and the short end's the cuff, like toward the wrist, then you're all good. So in this case, my weave does line up. I will start, and it doesn't matter which way the sleeve goes. I can start on this end of the sleeve, or I can flip it over, start on this end of the sleeve. It makes no difference whatsoever, as long as the longer end attaches to the body. So the first 10 rings here or so are all standard 4-in-1 seam, and then we will turn a corner and switch to 90-degree seams. And 90-degree seam looks completely different from different angles. You can do it by adding a ring, you can do it by seaming together the rings that you already have. It makes pretty much no difference in the finished product. And I'm just going to skip ahead to the 90-degree seam. Okay, these are the last rings of doing a standard seam, and now we flip to a 90-degree seam. So we're still going through 4 rings. And in this case, just the way that it's laying, what makes the most sense for me to do is to go through these two. So I'm lining up with the row before it. And go down through these two, so I'm lining up with this row of rings. And just continue all the way along. Typically when you get to the area where you switch from the, there we go, right there, where we switched from the front to the back, I typically do it so that I'm in a row here, and I will just fill this area in with half a row. If your rings come out, you could take half a row off, but you can also just seam right over it. Just the only thing to do is just like they'll have a little bit of a knot when you switch your 90-degree seam going over top of this sort of half step change here. But it's not a big deal. But overall I find it's about the same amount of work and looks slightly better if I just sort of fill this seam just to the end of the sleeve, which is something like 15 rows or so of extra rings here.